I guess, can you look back to Friday, the march that you guys did, and just what the conversations have been like in the locker room since then? And do you feel like you as a team are talking about these things more than maybe in the past?
I feel like we were talking about them a lot more. Of course, it's not no locker room talk, of course, because we can't really be together that much. But this is a time where I feel like the team is united. We're all fighting for the same cause, and we all were on Friday also. And I know that every single one of my teammates, no matter the color of their skin, they all have our backs, specifically the black players. We know we have the support of our white teammates, and vice versa. We're a brotherhood, and we really showed that on Friday.
All right, Josh Moore, go ahead, please.
Josh, I'll circle back to what Keith was trying to ask there. Just going through that screening process there at the university, getting back on campus. Just and did you get to work out? Was that something? Are you participating yet, or?
Yeah, we started working out yesterday. That was our first workout, and everything's different, of course. Now, when you get there, you have to go through the whole process to make sure that you're cleared to work out. So they take your temperature, and then as soon as you wake up, you have to go answer some symptoms throughout our Teamworks app. And so it's a couple of different things that you have to do now. And then once you're in the workout, it's so different. It's a small group, so when you have six people in a group, you're so used to dapping somebody else up once they finish a rep or something like that, but you can't do that now. You can't help your teammates up off the ground and stuff like that. So it's very different. And me and Luke Fortner, we actually we kept having like the we were so used to dapping each other up after we're done throughout our groups in the past, and so we keep trying to do it as we start the workouts now. But then we quickly realize and pull it back. But everything's different, and we're still getting used to it.
All right, Keith Farmer, you there? All right, that's really odd because his microphone says it's unmuted. Okay. All right, Nick Roush, go ahead, please.
Sorry, Keith. I'm curious at all the different changes. I know we saw players with masks on during workouts. Do y'all have to wear those while you're actually running and stuff? And if so, how annoying is it to be able to do all that stuff while you're out in the heat of June?
Yes, we have to wear it the whole time, and it's very annoying. But, of course, I don't think it's possible to go through a workout without at least taking it off a couple of times, like pulling it away from your face for just a couple seconds walking on just to breathe a little bit. But, yeah, that's a requirement that we have. We have to have the mask on, and I guess it's a whole nother element that you can bring to that workout.
Okay, John Clay, go ahead, please.
Josh, do you have any kind of was there any kind of hesitation about coming back and starting workouts? And in talking to your teammates, does everybody feel like it's a pretty safe environment to come back?
From what we know, we feel as if the facility is the safest place that we can be at right now, just because of how sanitized it is after we're done working out, before we're done working out, and things like that. And so every one of our teammates, each of my teammates, of course, we have full faith in our training staff and our strength staff to make sure that we're in a clean environment and that they keep our safety first.
Okay. All right, it's like Brian, you got a question?
Yeah, so what did it mean to have your coaches with you all in downtown Lexington supporting you all last Friday?
It meant a lot. Coach Stoops and Courtney, they put it all together just so that they could really step up and take that next step. And Coach Stoops, he's about everything that he says, and he has our back through whatever. And we know that for a fact. He showed that to the whole country on Friday, that no matter what's going on, no matter if it's affecting him directly or if it's affecting us, he makes sure that everyone feels like they're loved and that they're supported. And he's really passionate about what he did on Friday, and he showed us that, and that makes us appreciate him even more.
Josh Moore, next question.
Josh, how do you when you look back at 3-4 years ago? I mean, you were obviously in high school at the time, and the stuff with Kaepernick, kind of starting the conversation, a little bit, putting Black Lives Matter kind of out there into more of the general conversation. From then compared to now, just what do you see? That's happening differently, and how this is maybe being considered by people more now than it was, even just 3 or 4 years ago.
I know 3 or 4 years ago when Colin Kaepernick first started the whole protest, there's a lot of people who threw hate on him, and I can see how now they're starting to appreciate the protest that he did, and they're starting to realize the problems that we face in America, and how and the steps that we have to take to just get better and just to take these next steps in the country. So I can just tell that the protests are starting to be appreciated, and of course now a lot of people are starting to realize what we have to do. So can you hear those dings? Like you can?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
we
know.
can hear those things.
Yeah, I don't know where they're coming. I don't know where they're coming from. But hey, John Clay, you're up next.
Yeah, Josh, back to the safety aspect. Having gone what you went through with the skin cancer and so forth, do you have to take any kind of extra precautions, or have you during this whole pandemic?
My oncologist said that I don't have to take any necessary precautions, and that as far as the research goes, that I'm good, and that I feel like we're all on the same, I'm on the same level as the average human right now. So
Good. That's good to hear.
thank you.
All right, next question is John Hale.
Hey, Josh, during the shutdown, while you weren't allowed in the facility, what were you able to do physically, just workout wise? And how do you think it compares coming back to conditioning now versus most off seasons, because you didn't have the full spring practice and all the other stuff leading up to this point?
So the past couple of weeks before I came back to Kentucky, I was with family in Alabama. And so I had the opportunity to work out down there. And so I feel like I stayed in good shape while I was down there. And it was really just a time where I can focus on football and focus on my knowledge of the game, and also on my physical health and working out in that way. But I feel like coming back to Lexington, of course, they're not just throwing us back into the fire when it comes to workouts. They're easily bringing us back in. And so I know that these next couple of days, they're going to keep just not making it easy, but transitioning us into harder workouts and things like that. But it's nothing that we can't handle. So we're ready for it. And, we missed a lot. So everybody's eager to get back and eager to just keep going.
All right, let's see. Ken Spencer trying to unmute you, and for some reason it's not wanting to. Hang on just a moment. Okay, now Kent should be going.
Hey, Josh, how you doing? You mentioned, at the protest, it meant a lot to have your white teammates alongside you guys protesting on Friday. Have you had certain conversations with white teammates that have had questions for you and along this journey?
I haven't had any questions being asked like directly to me, but I remember a conversation I had with Landon Young, and he was just telling me how he knows that he can never fully understand what it's like to be Black in America, but that he knows that he has our backs and that he will fight with us and for us. He'll fight for equality basically for us, and that he has our backs through whatever. And even though that he can't understand, that he knows there's a problem and he's willing to fight for it.
And just as a quick follow-up, what did that mean to you to hear somebody like Landon say that?
It meant a lot. I know Landon fairly well, so it's not a surprise to me just because I know what type of guy he is. He's a great human being, and he loves everybody. And I know that I personally knew that he had my back. That was never a doubt in my mind. But just to hear it and for him to be more vocal about it, it means so much just to know that he's willing to use his platform to help us.
All right, next question is from John Hale.
Josh, obviously you all had the march on Friday. Have you all talked at all about further demonstrations or statements or anything you might make when the season starts? And what do you feel like the next steps for you as a program with your teammates are?
We haven't had that talk yet, but I'm sure that we will soon, but we haven't had it yet.
Okay, thanks.
Josh, I know right now there's no certainties as for this upcoming football season, but what are you kind of expecting and how are you preparing for things to play out?
Well, I'm expecting and preparing for a full season. I'm expecting of course, I have to prepare as if the season's going to start right away. And so, but I personally think that, I know that it probably won't be full capacity as far as fans, but even if it's half, I would love that. Just to be able to go out there and, with all this going on the past couple of months, I feel like we'll all be blessed just to be able to have a football season. And so I'm excited for that, and I'm excited for whatever we decide to do.
All right, next question is from Josh Moore.
I like what you said there about, feeling like just being able to have a football season will be kind of special just after everything that's going on. But how do you, between the pandemic and now the protests and this movement that's kind of getting more momentum, how does football fit into this whole thing as far as is all this stuff, changed how you kind of look at football as not just as a platform, but also as like a priority, like something that, maybe it's a little not as important, or is it more important than you thought it was before, or just kind of what are your general thoughts on that?
I feel like football is like not the platform, but it's like the perfect example of, I feel like, how we should be. It's everybody from all different type of backgrounds. You all come together to accomplish one goal, and you can do whatever it takes to do so. And your brother's next to you, no matter what they may look like, they're willing to sacrifice for you. And I feel like that's exactly what this whole movement is. It's just being willing to appreciate others and being willing to sacrifice for others. And so I feel like football is actually important. And doing that, football is a sport that brings people together and it brings unity. And I feel like that's what our country needs right now.
Okay, up next is John Clay.
Josh, my question is kind of along those lines. After everything you talk about going back to Alabama and working out and so forth, being separated from your teammates with everything going along, how glad was everybody to see everybody else when you got back and you were able to get back on campus and work out again?
We were all glad. Of course, we can't dap each other up or give each other hugs. But we're excited to see each other. We're excited to get back to work. I know workouts have been high energy. In my group, it's only 6 people, but at the end of the day, we're excited to see each other. Workouts have been fun. Music blasting. They've been quick, but high energy. So.
All right.
Josh, what you're feeling about moving back inside? How is that transition been? Is that something that you're looking forward to?
It's something I'm looking forward to. Throughout that small time that we had in the spring, I loved it. I felt twitchy. I felt fast. I felt like that I could make an impact on the D-line, on the edge. And just to know that, Q's coming back, Boogie's coming back, J-Dub's coming back. And then on the other side, whoever ends up getting that spot, if it's Phil, if it's Looney or whoever, I know that it's experience. And so I feel like that we can do some damage this year and that, we're just going to have to continue to work and continue to grow as a defensive line as a front. But it should be something special.
Okay, Josh Moore.
Josh, I know how have you guys? I know we don't have a lot of details, but have you guys been able to communicate with Chris Oates and his family at all, or just to send well wishes or whatever it might be?
We really haven't been able to communicate with them. It's really been we can send texts and whatnot, but we can't really communicate with them that much.
Okay, next question, Andrew Chernoff.
Hey, Josh, how are you doing, man? You talked about how the feeling around the protest maybe in the past have changed with this one. Do you feel personally that things will change this time around?
I feel like things are starting to change now, just by everybody realizing that there is a problem. I feel like before it was people who, there's still people who are trying to fight it, saying that it's not a problem and bringing up certain statistics and things like that. And they're really choosing statistics over actual feelings. But I feel like that this time, it's a lot of people owning up to it. And it's a time where the whole country, and even you see clips around the whole world of people just fighting for justice. And, I feel like it's already been not a change, but it's been an impact as far as people realizing the problem and fighting for justice all around.
Okay, John Hale's next.
Josh, you mentioned Courtney Love and the role he played in planning the protest on Friday. Can you just talk a little bit about what he means to you guys as players, especially in his new role since he's transitioned from being a teammate to being kind of on the coaching staff?
Yeah, so Courtney is basically like the glue. I feel like he holds everything together as far as making sure that we have the best opportunities possible. He makes sure that the players are first, and that's really what the whole coaching staff. But Courtney really pushes for us. He, he finds internships for us. He helped put together this whole protest and things of that sort. Courtney, he was a great leader on the football team when I played my freshman year, and he's a great leader on the coaching staff, and he really leads wherever position that he's in. He's always going to lead. He's always going to, just help the people that he's leading and, just direct them in the right way.
Our next question is from Dick Gabriel.
Yeah, Josh, everybody, of course, is so aware now of what's going on with the tragedy and the protests. I'm curious about, from your perspective, obviously, how were things like race relations within the team coaching staff and the Lexington itself before all this happened? How did you see that?
I mean, between the team, I mean, we're brothers, so I really didn't see like anything bad between us. You know, we all respect each other. We all love each other. You really don't see any like anything regarding race that separates each other. It's more of something that brings us together. You know, we're all different, but we all want to learn about each other. We want to appreciate our differences and be able to, you know, come into a different environment and learn more about each other. You know, we have people who are from basically like the middle of nowhere in Kentucky, the country, and we'll have kids from the city go with them to the country and, you know, go hunt or do whatever they do in the mountains and things like that. So it's really just a learning thing, just being able to be around people from different backgrounds and appreciate their backgrounds.
All right. Next question, John Hale.
Josh, just as you move forward, looking towards the season, you said you were excited to get back to playing, but with the pandemic still out there, is there any fear for you in terms of getting things worse? How do you just approach that mental state?
I don't. Well, personally, I just feel as if right now, I have the mindset as if the season's going to start on time and things like that. And whatever happens, if it doesn't start on time, then we're just going to have to adapt to it. It's going to be a thing where, just like what happened this spring, we're preparing for the whole spring to happen, preparing for scrimmages and things of that sort. But you know, they threw a curveball at us and we adapted and we went home and we had to work out there and things of that sort. But as of right now, my mindset is that we're preparing for the season to start on time and we'll be ready for that. But if it's a curveball that gets thrown at us again, then we'll be ready for it.
I'm good, Tony.
What's that, Kent?
I'm good.
Are you good? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if that was the previous one. Okay, good. Thank you. All right. Josh Moore, go ahead, please.
Yeah, you're talking about curveball there, Josh. You had one of the bigger curveballs anybody's on the team has had to deal with. You and Coach Schlarman having to go through different battles there. What has that been like with him? You know, have you gotten to talk with him much through this and going through, especially the pandemic, having to negotiate things and figure out how to navigate that in the an era where we're kind of more health conscious right now?
Yeah, so I haven't really had a chance to talk to Coach Harmon that much, just because we've been at home most of the time, and of course the only time I really saw him in person was at the protest, and we had a short conversation just in how each of us were at that sort, and he said he was doing good and staying safe, and so I know that's a priority right now is just him staying safe and him staying healthy. And I know that even when the season comes, that's going to be a priority and that the team is going to do whatever it takes to ensure his health. So.
Okay, Dick Gabriel, you're up.
Josh, we were looking at a lot of the way too early preseason rankings and things like that of teams in the SEC. And obviously, when you lose a Lynn Bowden, people see that, but they don't see everybody else in the roster apparently, because now they're saying, Kentucky's going to fall back to only 5 or 6 wins. I've been hearing that you guys, I see the smile on your face. I've been hearing you guys are fine with that because you're using that as motivation. Is that true?
Yeah, this happens every year. They always say we'll win 5 games, finish close to last in the East. But every single year they do that, that just adds fire to the tank. And, I don't know, it just gives me chill because I'm just ready to play football and just ready to prove everybody wrong. This whole team, we're a brotherhood, and I just feel like this year's going to be something special. And I know there's something that, writers, they can't predict and things of that sort, but I feel like that, we're in for a great season and a great show, and I just can't wait for it to start.
If I can follow up on that, Josh just talked to you about the curveball you had to handle. You know what it's like to have football taken away from you suddenly. Now your teammates know that as well. Have you counseled them at all about appreciating what you've got? Because I know how much you guys appreciate being back.
I haven't really had to counsel anybody through that, just because right now everybody's just appreciating being back and just appreciating, even just going to workouts and pulling up to the facility, getting out. We're appreciating warm-ups, being dead from workouts and things of that sort. Being sore is such a good feeling now, and just being able to realize, we're getting better each and every day, and that we're progressing.
Okay, I'm not seeing any more questions. Before we sign off, if anybody needs to hit the raise hand button down at the bottom. Lonnie, I see you waving. Are you looking for a question?
Yeah.
Okay, I've unmuted you. Go ahead.
Josh, I obviously I've lived through a lot of what we're going through right now, being the old guy around. But anyway, nevertheless, so I don't need to to talk too much about that. Somewhat inundated. Let's take you back to the last 3 or 4 games of the season when your play exhibited that you had come a long way in your rehab and you were starting to play football like you wanted to play it. Tell me, how has that motivated you to come back and work even harder to get back on track in the direction I know that you want to go? Every football player wants to play at the next level. And I want to know how does that motivate you? Where are you in your preparation?
I feel like last season it was really just getting back in the game. And, towards the end of the season, I started just feeling like myself and just really getting back to being that football player that that I hope to be. And so, during this whole off season, I've just been working hard. I've been focusing on those little small things, as far as pass rush, as far as run game, and things of that sort. And so, I know during this whole quarantine, I really just have been focusing on using my hands more and things of that sort, and just getting out and working on those things that I wish that I would have had last season, but being able to use those tools for this season coming up, I'm looking forward to that. And I know that it's the same for all my brothers, that we're like during this whole quarantine, we've all found things that we should work on through football. We've had meetings on Zoom with our coaches, and so we'll go through film on last season and during the spring. And so we've all found things that we need to work on, and we've all done that.
Thank you.
Okay, hang on. All right. All right, John, go ahead.
Josh, you talked about how different things were going to workouts. Can you just kind of briefly walk us through how it's different and what are some of the steps you have to take before you can actually get out there to work out?
Okay, so my workout group's at 10. And so I usually wake up at like 8:45, 9 o'clock. And so when I wake up, I automatically go on the Teamworks app, and we have to fill out a survey, and it's about 6 questions, basically asking if you had a fever greater of 100, or if you had like certain symptoms and whatnot. And then once you fill that out, you're good to go to the facility. And so we already have our loops with us. We have to watch them on our own right now. And so we come to workout already dressed, but our workout shoes and our cleats are already at the facility. And so once we get to the facility, I wear slides to the facility, of course. And so I go down the hill and I go to the trainer, and the trainer asks us again about our symptoms and asks if anything has changed from the time that we left our apartments until the time that we got to the facility. And then they take our temperature, and if our temperature is good, then we go grab a water bottle and our towel and our shoes from the equipment managers, and then we go to our workout. And so we start our warm up, and whatnot. And most of the everything's outside really, as far as running and things like that. And then the lifting's inside. And so when we lift, everybody has their own rack. And so you really, all the racks are 6 feet apart for of course social distancing. And so once you're done a workout, or once you're done a lift, you can see the strength coaches go right behind you and spray everything down and wipe everything down. And I remember just now we had abs with the 25-pound plate. And that was the last thing we had for the workout. And so Coach Hill just told me to put it on the ground in front of the rack. And so he went over there and sprayed everything down, wiped everything down, so that the next group could get ready. And as soon as you're done your lift, you go out to the back of the weight room, and you make a left, and you pick up your phone, your keys, and your wallet from the table, and then you grab your shoes. Well, you put your shoes back on the rack, and then you grab your slides. Well, personally, I grab my slides and put those on, and then you walk on the outside of the turf, between the turf and the grass, and then you walk down and you get your bag of food and protein shakes or whatever you wanted from Jalen, because you fill out a survey for Jalen, our nutritionist, also because she gives us a bag of food before we leave. And so you pick that up and you bring your water to her, and then you leave, and that's it. So as soon as you're done lifting, you have to leave and go home and shower and put your loop into the washing machine. So.
All right, about time to wrap it up, but we will have Dick Gabriel as soon as his microphone will unmute. Okay, now Dick should be going.
I know you want to wrap this up. You may have just answered the question, Josh, but first day Alabama's kids came back, 5 of them tested positive. Did you guys take notice of that? Was that a concern? But it sounds like your people have this thing pretty well locked down.
Yeah, they have everything locked down. They made sure that everyone was healthy before they came in. We had testing. Well, I got tested last week, and so they made sure to knock that out. They made sure that everyone was healthy when they came back. And, you know, it's 2 separate groups. And so the second group starts, I think, next week or the week after that. And so they're making sure that everybody comes in, they're healthy, and that even if everything looks good and everything checks out, that even after we're done the workout, they clean up everything and they sanitize everything to make sure that the next group has just as much safety as the first group.
Did it concern you about the Alabama kids, though, when you heard about that?
It doesn't really concern me, just because I know that our strength staff and our training staff, they're going to make sure that we're in the best environment possible, and that we're basically in the safest place in Lexington right now when we're at the facility.
All right, folks. Thank you very much, Josh. Thank you for your time today. Appreciate you investing in our media today and taking time to do that. Folks, thank you for joining us today. Hope everybody is